McAuliffe. Thank you.
We are 50 days away from when the UK might leave the single market and customs unions and the transition period. And I echo the Minister's comments that he hopes that the provisions of this bill are never required. Because ultimately, an agreement is in the best interests of all of these islands and of all of the people on these islands. And when you read the provisions of the bill, you read it more in sadness than in anger, because I think anger was an emotion we had at the early phases of Brexit, but anger won't get us anywhere. And as we read through each provision, and I've listened to the contributions from the previous speakers, and I accept the importance of the service that is provided, not just to those who need routine operations, but I'm thinking about rare disease patients who might need to access services in the UK, where the centre of excellence across the whole world might be based in that service. But I have to say, listening to the contributions from Deputy Collins and Deputy McGrath, you would think that Minister Coveney is a Minister of the Crown and not a Minister of this Republic. Remember, this bill is about if the UK walk away. If the UK walk away, we can't force them to do anything. We can't force them to provide services in hospitals, which unfortunately are in the jurisdiction of the United Kingdom at this point. I might politically want something different, but the reality of the different jurisdictions on this island is what Brexit and grappling with it has been all about. I blame Fine Gael for lots of things, but Brexit it's preposterous to suggest that this government is standing in the way of giving guarantees for services that are provided in the UK. Can I say, in regard to sections 2 and parts 2 and 3, I would ask the Minister to consider, when negotiating the memorandum of understanding, those rare disease patients. Often those services are only accessible in those centres of excellence. And there's many rare disease patients that are incredibly concerned that the treatment abroad scheme that they might have used to access that expertise might not be available. And in the considerations, I would ask you to give special consideration to those families. I want to welcome part 3 of the bill dealing with the EHIC scheme. And I welcome it for 2 reasons. I think it demonstrates the commitment that this government has to ensure the rights of citizens in the north of Ireland. Some 632,000 holders of the EHIC scheme. By putting in place provisions for us to protect their rights, I believe we're showing good faith and expecting a reciprocal response from the United Kingdom. I also want to refer to part 7, which deals with the matter of education. There's 1,500 students studying in the UK, and I believe that the elements of these amendments and the amendments to the Student Support Act 2011, the main piece of legislation which deals with the financial supports for third-level students, is crucially important and is something which must be put in place if there is a no-deal scenario. Part 15 of the bill is also incredibly important, dealing with protection of employees, the Employers Insolvency Act. And it will protect many Irish workers working for UK companies working here. We've heard too many times in this House the impact of the insolvency arrangements regarding Debenhams workers who have been treated in a disgraceful way. But we can imagine if they, as a UK company, were trading from the UK, and we're a UK company, but we're trading here, and that those employees not only not benefiting from the collective agreement, but also not benefiting from the safeguard of the Employers Insolvency Scheme. And I'm very pleased that that protection is put in place in this omnibus bill. I would ask the Minister, though, and I take him on his good word that he will consider amendments and changes, what the significance of different arrangements between how Irish and UK law treats preferential creditors in insolvency situations. And I think that's a matter which we still have yet to resolve in this bill, and perhaps it is one that we can do at committee stage. Part 16 deals with extradition. You know, if I said it was done in sadness rather than anger, this is perhaps one of the saddest moments in the bill, because the European arrest warrant is something which we have only started to see the benefits from. We've only started to see how routine arrangements and requests between different European Union countries can be dealt with so that we can tackle crime. And instead, we are being forced, because of the decision of the British government not to engage in an agreement, we're being forced to result back to a Council of Europe Convention from 1957, which would essentially put extradition back in the hands of diplomats rather than in a judicial process. And I say that not with any disrespect to our colleagues in the Department of Foreign Affairs, but you know, extradition should not be a matter which is subject to political influence. We have seen in the past where lobbying and representations can be made to the political system when it is done through that process. And I would have concerns about how we deal with dissident Republicans, to those who want to undermine the Good Friday Agreement, to those who might want to engage in human trafficking. The overwhelming majority of requests under the European arrest warrant is dealt with between the UK and Ireland, of this country's dealings with the European arrest warrant. And it is real sadness that, as I say, we have to reach back to 1957. But you know what? There's plenty of things about this Brexit debate that reaches back to 1957. And I conclude, Lascan Corla, on item 21, which relates to the Construction Products Regulation 2013 Act, which I wasn't familiar with, which grants the local authority, Dublin City Council, with the responsibility for monitoring those products. And I would say to the Minister, and I've had reassurances from Dublin City Council on this matter, that in all cases where we give local authorities responsibility, we should also make sure that we give them resources, and in whatever arrangements are put in place, I would ask you to support the local authority in giving them that role. Minister, I would wish you the very best of luck, not in the passing of this bill, but in the work that you've done in order to secure a deal, in the work that this government has done to secure a deal. Let's hope that we never have to use the provisions of this bill. Let's hope we can tear it up and not have to make a deal that's going to benefit the people of this entire island.
Moving on to Sinn Féin.